Postal 2 is a beloved game of mine, full of tasteful humor, touching moments, and an endearing main character.
What the? Stupid dog.
This game is still incredibly entertaining all these years later, and although kinda janky, still holds up great, and I frequently return to the politically correct world of Paradise. Now, one of my absolute favorite aspects of this game is the variety of weapons you can find along your journey. So, I thought a fun idea would be to rank them all in according to how powerful or enjoyable they are. Who doesn't love a good tier list? And to add, I'm not just reading off the wiki and saying stats. I've actually played the game entirely through many times, so I got a decent amount of experience with most of these. So yeah, I have some backing in my claims, but feel free to comment if you disagree with a placement or some shit. Now, before we start, I'm just going to describe the tiers a bit. What caught your eye was probably the very top and very bottom, but we will get to those soon, so hang on. Starting from the top, amazing means the weapon is very useful in a variety of situations. It's also extremely powerful. Great means the weapon still has high power, but is slightly less versatile than amazing. But don't get me wrong, all the weapons placed here are still awesome and shouldn't be ignored. Good means the weapon is fairly reliable, but has some things that hold it back, being it a more situational tool or something that just isn't too strong. Goodish is basically a few ticks down from good. I mean, decent, but not all that useful. Kind of shit is what it is. It's weapons that aren't good and better options exist. Actually, shit is, actually shit, don't use them. Unless you want to. I mean, this game is for the unhinged after all. Also, I won't be counting the kick or piss or petition or bucket as a weapon. I'm just going through every legit weapon I know and the ones listed on the wiki. And lastly, Eternal Damnation weapons outside of the normal game won't be included here, but I will be covering the Paradise Lost exclusives. Alright, not going to waste any more time, let's just do it. To start, we're going to go over melee weapons. This game has a shit ton of them, they're all mostly really fun. First up is the taser, or shocker as the wiki says. This is a pretty good tool because you can get it super early on Monday and it can stun like basically anything, but some enemies will resist it. And you can combo this with your kick to do some damage as well. Overall, good for its stun use because not a lot of weapons do that. And it also has a slowly recharging ammo counter, making it even better. It's going in good. Next is the shovel. Okay, the shovel you'll get immediately, and immediately you want to find something better because it's pretty ass. It can still hold its own in close quarters, but it's just, it has two attacks, a swing and a stab, and the stab will hack off limbs of dead people, which is okay, I guess. It still does poor damage. I will say, though, smacking the fuck out of the rednecks during the Gimp escape part is iconic. It's going into kind of shit. Alright, the baton does some of the poorest damage for the game for a melee weapon, and it's pretty shit like the shovel. So yeah, not good, find something better. It does have two swings, but they do the same thing anyway. Kind of shit it goes. Alright, here we go. The machete is one of the most reliable and satisfying melee weapons in the game. This thing will get the job done. It attacks super fast, can sever limbs, and instantly kill with decapitation as well. And on top of this, you can throw it like a boomerang, and yeah, it's as cool as it sounds. The boomerang can ricochet off walls and kill multiple enemies as well, so go nuts. Easily goes into amazing. Sledgehammer. Okay, this thing is badass and it has very satisfying sounds. It's slower than the machete, but it can one-hit just about everything and it's fun to use. It's also great against zombies because of its head-smashing ability, but a better option exists for this. It has a throwing feature much like the machete, but it's slower and doesn't return you after. It can be a bit easier to aim though. Great pick for melee, but it's not the best. So yeah, rage is where it belongs. The scythe is a neat weapon. It can freaking cut people right in two, which I mean, I don't even gotta say why that's cool. Super fun to use and looks cool as well. It's a bit harder to find than others, but it comes in handy. Just like the previous two, it can be thrown, but again, it doesn't bounce off walls or return you. It just stays on the ground, diminishing its usefulness. It goes right next to the sledgehammer in great. Baseball bat. Alright, a genuine favorite of mine. This thing has two attacks, a normal swing and a bash. Now the bash actually shreds people. It will make heads legit explode and has a simply glorious sound effect when doing so. The ranging area covered by the bash is also deceptively large. It's capable of felling a bunch of dudes close together in one swing. Also the go-to zombie killing tool. Our second amazing spot goes to the bat. Alright, taking it down a notch are the dusters. A neat looking weapon, but not too effective. They will take down people in a couple of hits, but aren't the most practical. The alternate fire is the knockout punch. If this connects with the head, it'll do a lot more damage. Covers its shortcomings, it's gonna go into goodish. The shears, yeah, another favorite of mine. Who knew cutting legs off of people was so fun? Am I right? Okay, anyway, good ass weapon. You can cut people's heads off too for an instant kill, or any limb you want for fun. They are very precise at this, which makes them a good pick for that use. They have an alternate fire, which is a swing capable of smashing heads, and gives you more options. Going to great for this use and the fun they can bring. Okay, the axe is a fantastic weapon. It swings fast, severs limbs, and can one hit. You can get it pretty early as well, and at the early game, you're going to be starving for an edge weapon, so get that shit ASAP. Severs limbs, but it's not as precise as the shears for this use. It's going in great as well, though. Right away, the Bally is going in good just because it looks so damn sick. The animations for this thing make my ape mind happy, and for that fact alone, it's respected by me. In terms of a weapon, though, it's not too good, but it's capable of backstabs for an instant kill. These are impractical and kind of unreliable from my experience, but it gives an element of uniqueness. So yeah, it stays in good. Protest sign is a funny weapon, but I mean, it's pretty shit. It's a reskin of the shovel, so like the shovel has poor damage and usefulness. Though I will say murdering protesters with it is very enjoyable. Sorry, but it's going into kind of shit along with the shovel. Okay, the weeaboo weapon of choice, the katana. Very powerful weapon, and it also looks really cool as well. My only gripe with it is that it's really hard to find, so you won't see it much. If you can get it though, do it, because it shreds. Still, it goes into amazing because I love me some anime shit. Alright, yeah,
Baby, that looks like a dildo.
it can stun. It's alright. Goodish, let's move on. The hammer is a mysterious weapon. I didn't even know this thing first existed till doing my research. It's really weird to get and out of the way, so that's why. Neat weapon for the mystery fact alone. So yeah, good tier for that. Okay, that was all the melee weapons. Next up is the pistols. The good old reliable firearms of choice for early and mid game, though two of them will still be very useful later on. Let's get into it. First up is the pistol. Probably the first actual gun you'll pick up on your definitely friendly travels. You're probably thinking it's weak, but it's actually fantastic. One thing I'll point out right away is that it's perfectly accurate every shot, so it's actually really damn good for sniping people, and you can reliably hit headshots for extra damage if your aim isn't shit. Overall, it deals decent damage, ammo is plentiful because in America everyone always has a pistol on them, and you'll probably use it for a good portion of the game. It is definitely going to good. Next handgun is the
Glock. A little bit.
Yeah, this thing will fuck people up. I love it more than the normal pistol for one huge reason. Yeah, it's as cool as it looks. It actually does more damage than some of the other automatic options. It has 3 fire modes, single,
Bust mode.
and making it incredibly versatile for sniping and for spraying. All around a very dependable gun. Goes above the base pistol into great. Finally, for handguns, we have the revolver. Now, I love this thing, but sadly, I don't have too much experience with it because A, Paradise Lost is unstable as fuck on my PC, and B, the ammo for this thing is kind of hard to find. But it is very fun to play with. It deals insane damage and has a special ability, the Execution Mode. Downright one of the most broken abilities. You fill up the meter by doing damage, and then you can press the alt fire to lock on up to 6 people and instantly kill them. Even powerful foes will shit themselves at the sight of this thing. Up to amazing it goes. That was all the handguns. So now we will move on to the shotguns, and man, we got some exciting ones in this part. Video game shotguns always bring me joy, and I know a lot of you feel the same. So let's go. Well, I know I just hyped this up, but the first entry is kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. The normal shotgun looks pretty cool, and hitting point blanks to the head is satisfying, but I find myself not really enjoying using it. Its spread is comically large, so you basically need to stand on their ass to be most effective, and at that point, you should use the bat or another powerful melee. It is also incapable of one-shotting police at that range, so yeah, you can put cats on it though, redeeming this thing a bit. But yeah, not my favorite, kind of weak in my opinion. It's going into kind of shit. Now this is where it gets better. The lever action shotgun has a sweet ass reload animation, a much tighter spread and accuracy, and has the same powerful damage as the normal shotgun. Basically, it's an upgrade all across the board. Cowboy weapons are always winning, easily in a good tier. Another weapon with an element of secrecy that I love is the beta shotgun. It doesn't even show up in your inventory if you use the all weapons chain either. It's a neat secret weapon, and I for one am a huge fan of secret weapons. Anyway, this thing is not only interesting, but strong as well. It still suffers from having to get super close, but it deals way more damage and has more accuracy, so it's much better than the normal shotgun. It does have a weakness though. You need to reload after every 6 shots, but because the reload is so hilarious, this is a non-issue. great tier. And here we have it. One of the most awe-inspiring, death-bringing, and blatantly overpowered weapons in all first-person shooters, the sawed-off shotgun. This thing is an actual monster. Everything will turn into bloody crumbs when hit with this thing. It can even blow a freaking Gary Coleman in one shot up close, and he's like the strongest NPC in the entire game. Without a shred of doubt, it is the most mighty weapon in all of Postal 2. It gets its own tier, and it stays in the highest level of heaven for video game shotguns eternally. Alright, well, no weapon is going to peak that hard after this, but we still have some gems to lay around, so stay tuned. We are moving on to the automatic weapons and rifles now. First up is the machine gun. Very common weapon that you'll find, and pretty reliable one too. Very useful for spraying and has decent accuracy. Ammo is plentiful because, people will just casually have these things laying around their house. It's accurate to real life though. Side note, it's very useful for spraying on oncoming rockets to blow them up before they hit you. It's a mainstay in your arsenal, it belongs in good. Next is the MP5. This SMG is a fantastic automatic weapon. High fire rate, deals even more damage than the machine gun. It also has a single and automatic firing mode, making it more useful in different situations. It is less accurate at very long ranges, but this isn't too harsh. I'm going to place it in grade above the machine gun. Ammo is a bit harder to find though. Now we have the sniper rifle. The only actual sniper type weapon in the game, but one of insane power. Like Serious Sam, always scope in for maximum efficiency because it's about as accurate as a console player on a mouse and keyboard while unscoped. While scoped though, you can freely zoom in with a scroll wheel, letting you have more control over where you're aiming, and it's an absolute powerhouse of a weapon. But it's not too good for up-close crowds, of course. And one final thing, you can get collaterals with it because this game is good. It is well deserving of amazing tier. Shit is heating up with the next group of weapons, the incendiary-based ones. Yeah, Postal 2 is a pretty fire game, so of course there's going to be some super fun ways to burn people alive. First gas weapon as well, the gas can itself. On its own, the gas doesn't do shit other than making people get scared of being covered in fossil fuels, but combined with the matches, you can set them ablaze and
sit back and watch them running around screaming in agony as they slowly turn crispier by the second. Yeah.
It's as family-friendly as it sounds. For actual fights though, the gas is pretty slow and cumbersome if you just run at people with it, so it's better used for traps and such. And shoutouts to burning the Martian Band, that's always fun. It's an iconic weapon, but it's not too practical. Goes to goodish. Next to the matches, I just gave them their own tier because you shouldn't use them as a weapon. I don't even think they do damage. They're only useful in conjunction with the gas and for escaping prison. Moving on. Alright, the flamethrower. It's just like the one in Blood. It's a spray can combined with a lighter. There's sadly no way to throw the can though. Very fun weapon, and it's pretty effective too. Can spray anyone down and set them ablaze really easily. It's decent for crowds and causing general mayhem. It belongs in good. A unique melee weapon powered by your gas supply is the chainsaw. It's a weapon sent from the gods themselves. It tears through everything in its path really fast. The only downside being it's limited by the fuel supply. Channel your inner leather face and go to town. Amazing. The final fuel-powered weapon of death is the Weed Whacker, and as the name implies, it's going to do some serious whacking on the weeds known as humanity. More range than the chainsaw, and it can even be used while out of fuel for a bash attack, and that actually does a lot of damage. This thing will just rip through crowds of enemies like they're nothing. It's going to be placed right next to the chainsaw. Okay, that was every fuel-related weapon. Definitely a fun category. Up next is every throwable weapon. I'm talking like grenades and shit like that. Let's go. First one is, like I said, the grenade itself.
Что ты делаешь? Я взрыватель хочу.
I'm gonna be real, I don't really like using these things. The throwing in this game is kind of janky in my opinion, and aiming can be tricky. You can alternatively set them down like mines if you want, so there's some other uses. They still do splash damage, which is sort of useful, but there's better options. It'll go to goodish. Molotovs are a lot of fun for burning innocent people, but not much else. Like a lot of fire weapons, enemies will put themselves out or run towards you and set you ablaze as well, which is really annoying. I place them in good just because they're enjoyable to play play around with. Alright, the scissors, man. Pretty shitty weapon all around. Sorry running for scissors, nothing personal. They do poor damage, and using them to kill the Garys in the hospital brings back some terrible memories. I don't really like using them personally, but the ricochet alternate fire can be fun. Actually shit tier. Dynamite, alright. Basically a stronger grenade. Bigger explosion, more damage, more everything. Still suffers from the weird floaty throwing though. Goodish next to the grenades. The crotch grenade. A deadly but rare throwable. It has a huge blast radius and pretty insane damage too. And they're hilarious. Yeah, downside is that you won't find them too much, but they're a fantastic grenade type weapon, and they go above dynamite and grenades in good tier. Alright, fuck the flash grenades, they actually suck ass. Have fun blinding yourself and hearing an awful noise for like 15 seconds. This is Postal after all, so just kill people, don't stun them. Unless you're going for like pacifist achievements, I can't recommend these at all. And also, why do they look like smoke grenades and not flashbangs? Like, God, that really bugs me. Alright, actually shit, they go. The final throwable is the diseased cowhead. You can throw this shit at anyone and start playing Plague Inc. with the diseases from it. They'll start throwing up blood and die, which is, yeah, that's really pleasant. You can alternatively place it on the ground and kick it or shoot it for it to explode into a cloud of noxious gas. Yeah, needing strong weapons, so great it goes. Well, we've come a long way, and we're almost done by now. All that's left is the launcher type weapons, and there's a fair amount of them. Some really strong tools that are great for hordes. Let's finish this off. The normal rocket launcher is a really powerful weapon that isn't too hard to get either. The rockets deal a ton of damage, and you have more control over where they're going to go with the fuel charging feature. It has the ability to fire Seeking rockets too, which are so cool the dude even does the rock sign in awe. Great tier. All you chemical warfare fans will feel right at home. The Weapon of Mass Destruction, or WMD, is a rare weapon that you can get from our pals at Taliban. Its explosion is bigger and it deals a lot more damage to the rocket launcher, but it also spreads COVID or AIDS or some shit around the local populace, making everyone start vomiting blood and dying. Yeah, anyone who comes in contact with an infected will also become infected themselves, and you can wipe out entire areas with one shot if used properly. Yeah, this thing is really strong, so it goes to amazing. Okay, the grenade launcher looks cool, sounds cool, and it's kind of fun, but I find it sort of hard to aim and use well. It's basically just another method of throwing grenades at a set arc, which is helpful because the earlier stated janky ass throwing is kind of inconsistent, so this will go into good-ish. The mini nuke launcher does what it says: insane radius and damage. Everything like a good 5-mile radius is just fucked. Use cautiously if you ever find it though. Amazing for its lethality and just sheer power. And also, who doesn't want to nuke the local neighborhood? Yeah, amazing level easily. The best fire-based weapon in the game in my opinion is the napalm launcher. Shoot it legit anywhere near someone and watch them get charred. Extremely powerful, and for the pyromaniacs out there, it's going to be a lot of fun. It has an alternate fire that shoots a bouncing flame trail leaving bomb as well. Wow, napalm is so fun. Great tier for sure. Lastly, we have the beanbag launcher, another kind of mysterious and rare weapon. It's simply the best non-lethal weapon for maybe if you want to do a pacifist run, but like, man, I said this before, it's Postal 2, not Proper Manners 2. I won't play this game to murder people. That being said, it's a decent weapon, and the stun it provides isn't bad. It's also cool for its scarcity and obscure nature. So yeah, good-ish. I didn't include it here because I never talked about enhanced mode, but the box launcher is apparently a thing. I haven't used it myself, and I didn't even know it existed until now, but I'm just going to mention it in case someone points it out. It's an enhanced exclusive, so it won't be on the list itself, but it's a neat little secret weapon. Alright, yeah, so that's every single weapon in Postal 2 ranked. I hope you all liked it and can kind of see where I'm coming from for the ranking. I love this game to death, so I had a lot of fun making this shit, even if it did take a lot longer than expected. I may or may not make more like actual effort videos after this. My last one really did some serious numbers, so thanks to everyone who watched it. I have a lot of trouble staying like motivated for making basically anything. I just want to say I really appreciate the 7 people that are going to watch the first 2 minutes of this. Yeah, I hope you laughed at least once or twice from the autism I put into the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Maybe.